different name. If you think Gail with an L, Gail Layle. That's an easy way to remember it. Today I'm going to share a really fun technique for adding a pocket or creating a pocket for your traveler's notebook. So this is the pocket that I created, and I'm just using it to store stickers. I am using a standard wide traveler's notebook, and I have made my pocket that same width. So this is my insert. It is standard wide, so it is 8 1/4 by 5 inches. So it's a little bit wider than a traditional standard insert. If you are using either a standard insert or passport or field note size, whatever size you're using, you can modify the dimensions to make it work for your traveler's notebook and to coordinate with your inserts, the size of your inserts. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I am using a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper, and it's up to you to decide what kind of pattern that you want. I always like to use a paper that is double-sided so that I have a pattern on the back side. One quick thing that you want to keep in mind: if there is a direction to the paper, meaning if you have a paper, let's say, that has words on it, you want to be thinking about how that is going to look when you are folding the bottom of the pocket up, and that's what I've done here. This particular pattern works very well because you have a floral, and when you fold it up, there isn't necessarily a direction to that floral, so that it works. So that's something to keep in mind when you are when you're choosing a paper. All right, so my paper starts out at 12 by 12. And as I mentioned, my inserts are 5 inches wide. So what I want to do is I'm going to cut this paper to be 10 inches wide so that when I fold it in half, it is 5, the width of my insert. So I can either cut that with a measure and cut with a ruler, or I can bring in my trimmer. So I'm just going to bring in my trimmer here, and I want that to be 10 inches wide, as I mentioned. So we'll go ahead and just cut that off. I've cut off 2 inches. That is now the width of my pocket, so I want to fold that in half. If I have a bone folder or a scoring tool, I could use that, or I could just eyeball and fold in half as I'm doing here. All right, so there we go. That is now 5 by 12, so again, 5 inches is the width of my insert that I'm using. All right, so I'm at 5 by 12. Now what I need to do, my insert is 8 1/4 inches tall, and this is 12. So I want to open that back up, and I am going to measure 8 1/4 inches down from the top so that when I fold it up, it will be the right size. So let's see. There we go. So I'm going to now fold, and again, if I have a scoring tool, it would make that a little bit easier. But if you don't have one, that's okay. You can just do what I'm doing. Let's make sure we've got that in the right spot. Close enough. So we're going to fold that over. See, now when I mentioned at the beginning, I want to make sure that the paper I'm working with has a direction that will work. When I fold that up, it works. So now really I could leave my pocket just like this if I wanted. And if I was going to do that, I would put adhesive along that side and along that side so that my pocket will not, if things won't fall out. But what I would like to do, I want to have my pocket open here so it's a little bit easier to slide things in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up again, and I'm going to fold it this way with the open edge on the right. That's really important. Open edge on the right, closed fold on the left. I am going to eyeball, I'm going to say about 3/4 of an inch over, and then I'm going to cut, and I am cutting up to that fold line. All right, so again, I cut on the folded side. That's really important. I'm going to open that back up again, and when I fold up, I now have an open pocket, and actually I didn't quite get that cut to my corner, so let's fix that. If you, obviously I just free cut that, I didn't draw a line or anything. If you felt more comfortable about taking a ruler and a pencil, you could measure. But we'll just close that up again, and there we go. So my pocket is now ready for adhesive. So I can either use a tape runner, I could use some really sturdy red line tape. I don't recommend using glue stick because glue stick really isn't strong enough to hold that pocket closed after you start to put things in it. So I'm just going to run a little bit of tape runner right up there against that edge. I'm going to do the same thing against this edge as well. There we go. So now I have a pocket that has 2 pockets in it. The last step that I'm going to do, and of course you could leave your pocket like this with the square corners, but I like to round the corners, especially this corner right here, because when I add this into my elastic, if I rounded this corner, it kind of gives it a place for the elastic to sit and it won't pull so taut. So I'm going to take my corner rounder. This corner rounder is made by We Are Memory Keepers, but really any corner rounder will do, and I'm going to round all 4 of those corners. This one works really well because it's kind of really sturdy, so that I can cut or round both of those, you know, on my fold there. That's kind of double thick. So, all right, so there I have it. There is my pocket. So I will bring my insert back in. And I can do 2 things with this. I can put my pocket in its own elastic, or I can slide the pocket into an existing insert. But let's go ahead and let's move this just out of the way. Let's go ahead and slide this in. So when I slide this in, you will see what I meant about rounding the corners right there. So it just gives it a place for that elastic to sit without it being so taut. So I can use that pocket now to store stickers if I'd like. I could use it to store receipts. I can really use it to store anything that I'd like. So that is a really simple way of creating a pocket for your traveler's notebook. Bye-bye.